that division.
Ian Rappaport had a report yesterday on NFL Game Day saying we might see a little Jalen Hurts, and not just gadget, stuff like that. You might see Jalen Hurts at quarterback.
Yeah, what's that? For
a couple snaps for the Eagles, and it might be more than just a couple. This is a real fork-in-the-road moment for the Eagles. The Giants are now in first place with Colt McCoy as their quarterback. Alex Smith and the Washington football team doesn't scare anybody, and yet they are right there. And the Cowboys, the Eagles can still win this division. Is this the time to break out Jalen Hurts? Or should we just ride Carson Wentz all the way to the end of the year? I'm very interested. There's a little bit of playing with fire feel to this. If Jalen catches heat, do you give the rock to Jalen Hurts, the rookie, the second-round pick for the rest of the season? I want to see how they use Jalen Hurts. I want to see what they do, because I'll be honest, I've watched a lot of Eagles football this year. Outside of the Jets and maybe a couple other of these teams that are the Jaguars, the Eagles might be the most frustrating team to watch in the entire NFL this season. So much talent on the field, can't get wins, and very often they come really close and they don't finish the deal. Jalen Hurts is a winner from college. I don't know how much we see of him. That's my fascinating piece. I don't know about the Seahawks. I know the Eagles are going to be something I'm watching.
My eyes go to Philly, too, because time's up. You've had weeks. You've had weeks while the NFC East was terrible to figure this out, lick your wounds, get right. It doesn't really matter if you lost, if you lose. We've all joked about it. I've made a million jokes. It's not a joke anymore. If Carson Wentz doesn't have it, you got to pull him. You have to pull him, and not for a gadget or get him out of the game. You have a second-round draft pick. Peter said it all, a winner. You got to try something. The time is up. Washington wins. The Giants win. You're going to lose the worst division of all time, and you had it. And so the idea that, we don't want to mess with Wentz. Listen, Carson Wentz has been messed with in a million different ways, whether it's his backup or his knee, and he's still somehow recovered. You got to stop worrying about his feelings and start worrying about your team. He's been awful, and I don't relish saying that. I like Carson. We all do. You got to get him out of the game. He's by far inferior to someone like Daniel Jones right now, even, let alone Alex Smith. You got to get him out. And I think if you're not going to start Hurts, you got to get him out early. I'm saying in the first couple series, if it's punt or anything, or let alone a turnover, get out. We have built this whole team around you. We paid you all the money in the world. We've given you 2 months out. You got to go. You got to win this one. Time's up. Got to go.
Are you co-signing? You have been high on Jalen Hurts since the morning after the draft when I talked to you.
I don't believe Jalen Hurts right now is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz, but you have to mix it up. And if you have a guy on your roster that can do some things that could add a little bit of energy to your offense, which is what they lack, and then you couple that with the fact that Carson Wentz just makes a bad decision because he's trying to do too much.
Taysom Hill-y kind of stuff out there?
No, that's good.
No. I don't want him to just go in there and run the ball. I want him to throw the ball. And Taysom Hill is a guy that can run and throw. It's just that he's really good at running the ball. So throw him in there, put Jalen Hurts, and see if that adds a little juice to your offense.
The local reporters are saying Jalen Hurts took first-team reps a lot this week.
That's what I heard, yeah. I will say golden opportunity for these Seahawks, right? The Rams lose, that's huge for them. Then they've got, guys, listen to this. The Eagles tonight, they've got the Giants, who very may well be without their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, in that one. And then they have the Jets. This division has been twisty-turny all season long. And now there's this stretch where the Seahawks can come and say, oh, this is our whole situation here. So, yeah, more highlights right now, Nate?
More highlights. Speaking of Taysom Hill, let's get some Taysom Hill highlights. Saints.
Apparently. Okay, so it is playoff crunch time right about now, right? There are still 2 games left. Which team do you think dropped the ball in week 12?
I got to talk about the Rams. You know, I'm McVay's biggest cheerleader, and I love what they've been doing. They hadn't lost a game at home all season. Here come the 49ers, who have just owned the Rams the past 2 seasons. I don't know if Kyle Shanahan just has mind control over McVay because they used to work together back in Washington or what. But the Rams are fully healthy. They're coming off this victory against the Buccaneers. They beat the Seahawks the week before. And Jared Goff cannot take care of the ball. There's turnovers galore, and I've never heard Sean McVay in a press conference like I heard him last night. He was extremely blunt. He says, our quarterback has got to take better care of the football. Felt like the Rams just could not get going. And what a credit to the 49ers. Deebo Samuel, outside of Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown, might have been the best receiver in football yesterday. Javon Kinlaw and Kerry Hyder were flying all over the field. And Nick Mullins walked into SoFi Stadium and just came out there and was the better quarterback in a battle between 2 NFC West teams in a must-win for the Rams. That goes from being, hey, we might have home field throughout the playoffs and #1 seed, to now being back in the wild card again. Rams are right there, and the NFC West math is crazy. McVay seems to struggle with Shanahan, yet McVay always beats Kingsbury and Carroll, and then Carroll always beats Shanahan. It's like this crazy Rubik's Cube in the NFC West, and I can't keep up with it. I just know that the Rams had a chance to really distance themselves yesterday, and here we are, coming off another one where somehow Kyle Shanahan just gets the best of Sean McVay, and that 49ers team makes you think, wow, the Rams just cannot get past this squad.
You have better insight to Sean McVay than maybe anybody in sports media. What's he thinking right now?
I haven't spoken to him. I have to think he is livid right now because he knows the opportunity missed. I don't know if he's angry at Jared Goff, but there has to be frustration. Goff puts you in these spots where you want to love him, and just like that, you're like, just give us that one performance yesterday.
I know, especially with a D that good, you can't do it. If you didn't see a lot of the games yesterday, you rely on us to get you up to speed, and we try to show you as many highlights as we can. When you show the Titans-Colts highlights, it's just a whole bunch of Derrick Henry running all over, which tells a huge part of the game. What doesn't tell as much about the Colts, Phillip Rivers was not good yesterday, and it was a little nerve-wracking. I'll tell you why. A little scattered, inaccurate, some clock management issues, just not sharp, not flamboyant, not moxie, anything we want to say about Phillip Rivers when he's good. And he was strikingly familiar. If you've watched Phillip Rivers for a lot of years, it's worrisome to me because you like what Indianapolis does on defense normally and running the ball, everything. But this is going to come down to 17, down in either December or if they make it, January. And I just am never convinced that guys who have been in the league that long really change. Like, Roethlisberger is going to be himself. Phil's going to be himself. Rodgers. You see some guys who switch teams, the Tannehill types, and they change their game. I just don't know if Phillip Rivers is going to have the steady hand. I've seen that guy yesterday, and he's good, and he tries hard, but it's just erratic, and it makes me very nervous. It was like if you were a Colts fan and your worst fears about Rivers and big moments and playoff shortcomings, you got a little shade of it yesterday. Maybe it's an anomaly. Maybe he has changed. I hope he has. But to get stomped that badly, the Derrick Henry issues were one thing, but Rivers didn't have an answer.
At home.
And in division, at home, this point of the season, you want to have them all worked out. I'm not writing them off. It's just a little bit worrisome for me.
For me, it's the Cardinals who dropped the ball. You would expect the Arizona Cardinals to beat Cam Newton and the Patriots, who are struggling just to find any little bit of offense. We saw Cam Newton's numbers, and they weren't impressive at all. They don't have a wide receiver that can step up and really scare you. But the Cardinals didn't slam the door on these guys. The Cardinals didn't go out there and do what they do best. And I thought to myself, after their offense struggling a little bit, that Kyler Murray is going to take over and say, let me put the team on my back and start running. And it just didn't happen. It never happened. And now you got a team who has lost 3 out of the last 4. And if it wasn't for DeAndre Hopkins putting on a superhero cape, snatching a Hail Murray, then they would have 4 losses in a row.
Yeah, that's...
So there was this moment where we were hyping up.
No bueno.
Excuse me, there was this moment where we thought that Kyler Murray was the MVP. And we're not even having that conversation anymore. And as volatile as the NFC West is, they got to get it together. I know we're excited about that Christmas game that we're going to see between the 49ers and the Cardinals because there will be playoff implications behind that game. But if they don't figure it out before then it's going to be tough for them.
So true, but I think that, Kyle, you'd agree with me, no loss was... We hate being negative, but that was just the theme of the week. The Raiders' loss wasn't a loss. They were completely demolished. It was terrible. Now they put themselves on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. These Raiders need to fix things. I will say they have a chance to bounce back. It's the Jets this week. You gotta hope they can get it done. And then they play 2 playoff contenders up ahead. They've got the Colts in Week 14. And we just dropped this news, breaking news on NFL Network. Week 16 is up against the Dolphins. That one right here, big stage. Everyone's watching the day after Christmas. So I'm hoping if this doesn't derail them completely and they can get their act together to make some... I want the table. I want the parity.
Hell yes.
For once in my life, I'm with you. I want them to come flip the table like I think that they will.
I think that's
like the Bucs in the NFC. Those teams, I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but they can ruin somebody's chances along the way.
And it's a fun team to root for. Like, unapologetically root on the show. Peter had this, though, early in the show. Last season, 6-4. Just like they were yesterday, 6-4. They ran into the Jets, who they play next week. The Jets destroyed them.